The GOP is apparently buzzing about the possibility of Fox News host Tucker Carlson running for president in 2024. This was a story reported by Politico, and they spoke to dozens of Republican strategists and operatives who think that if Tucker Carlson were to run in 2024, he would very likely win the Republican primary. So Republican strategists, conservative commentators, and former Trump campaign and administration officials are buzzing about Carlson as the next generation leader of Donald Trump's movement, with many believing he would be an immediate frontrunner in the Republican primary. 16 prominent Republicans interviewed by Politico said there's an emergent consensus in the GOP that the 51-year-old Carlson would be formidable if he were to run. Now, before I give you more details to the story, I just want to warn you guys, this isn't a Kanye West is running for president type story. This is something that should be taken seriously, because even though Tucker Carlson usually has a dumb look on his face, he's not a dumb person and is actually pretty masterful in manipulating people through his show. He is the most watched host right now on Fox, and Fox is the most watched cable news network. So he does have a pretty significant audience, and he is a particularly hateful person, which we'll show you in just a minute. Now, Luke Thompson, who is a Republican strategist, told Politico, quote, "He's a talented communicator with a massive platform. I think if he runs, he'd be formidable." Carlson has become perhaps the highest profile proponent of Trumpism, a blend of anti-immigrant nationalism, economic populism, and America First isolationism that he articulates unapologetically with some snark. This article by Politico kind of reminds me of why Politico irritates me, because I don't think that there was enough emphasis on who Tucker Carlson really is as a person and how damaging he would be to the country. Because what differentiates Carlson from Donald Trump is that Trump is an idiot. Tucker Carlson is not. So Trump, due to his incompetence, was unable to fulfill some of his campaign promises. With Tucker Carlson, I just think he's a lot more savvy, and that's terrifying when you consider some of the things he said on his show. In fact, here's a quick JR-rated mashup.
To a remarkable degree, federal law enforcement is now driven by political imperatives. Certain kinds of so-called hate crimes top the list of priorities. They'll draw the FBI faster than you could summon the local police to your house during a home invasion, even when, as is so often the case, they turn out to be hoaxes. White supremacy is just that prevalent in America, they tell us. It's everywhere, except it's not. That's a lie. White supremacy is not ubiquitous in America. It's not a crisis. It's not even a meaningful category. It is incredibly rare. You could easily live your entire life in this country without meeting a single person who believes anything like that. Most of us have lived lives like that. I have. What is a crisis in America, and a growing crisis, is left-wing extremism and violence. This matter is now more popular than either major political party. So don't be surprised when they come for your church. Why wouldn't they? No one is stopping them. This may be a lot of things, this moment we're living through, but it is definitely not about Black lives. And remember that when they come for you, and at this rate, they will. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided. In the year 2000, Hazleton's population was 2% Hispanic. Just 16 years later, Hazleton is majority Hispanic. That's a lot of change. This pace of change makes societies volatile, really volatile, just as ours has become volatile. That's happening all over the country. The culture their parents and grandparents had built evaporated. Overall, this is the least racist country in the history of the world. Millions of Africans want to move here. Many already have. Our last president was Black. What are you talking about?
I like that combination of, I don't know any white supremacists. And remember, Black people are gonna come for you. Okay, so now, this is real. Like, I don't mean that that we know for a fact that he's going to run, but it also goes to the upside of Politico, Anna. What they do is they get, insider chatter in Washington, and they talk to 16 Republican strategists, consultants, etc. So it's not made up. It's not fake news. People are actually talking about this in DC. I think he can win. I'm going to explain that in a second, and there's another twist coming. But let me give you guys some facts, and then I'll talk about why he can win. Look, first, let me also admit that I was wrong about Tucker Carlson. Tucker had a show on CNN. He had a show on MSNBC. He had a show on almost every cable channel that ever existed, and they were all total failures. And I didn't understand why Fox News was hiring him with a miserable track record on television. All that was true at the time, and it seemed like they were just hiring, like what the NFL does often, hire another failed white coach just because they just thought, I don't know, man, he was at Dallas at some point, drove them into the ground, but let's just hire him again, right? But I was wrong. This time around, he did figure it out. He has tapped into that populist vein, I think actually better than Donald Trump.
For sure, I agree.
So because he does something that nobody talks about in the press that is very important. And half of it is potentially good, but it makes him very dangerous. So we all talk about the over the top racial overtones, to say the least, and honestly racism. What he says certainly about immigrants, but oftentimes about blacks and other minority groups as well. But what you don't see talked about in the press is when he goes after multinational corporations, and his audience loves it. And that's part of how he became the highest rated show, not only on cable news overall. Yes, that's true. He's beating MSNBC and CNN, but Fox News regularly beats those guys. He's number one on Fox News, so that he's doing better than all the other conservative shows. And he rails against capital gains tax cuts and foreign wars. Bingo. Now that is a winning conservative strategy. I don't like people who don't look like me. Plus, why are we giving everything to the rich? And why are we giving everything to your boss that runs those multinational corporations? And what the hell are we sending you to die over in the Middle East for? We don't even care about those people. Remember what Tucker Carlson has said during the Iraq war. In the beginning, he was supportive. He unlike Donald Trump, he very quickly changed his mind and said that he was against the war, but partly because he said that Iraqis are monkeys and I don't really care about them. So he had a very, what we would consider ironic, but really a very conservative reason for being against the Iraq war. That stuff is resonating with the viewers and will resonate at the presidential level. Now, here comes a twist. If and when Donald Trump loses in 2020, not like he can't run again. He actually could run again. So 2024, Donald Trump versus Tucker Carlson. How's that for a battle royale? And that is going to be amazing. But he is much more sophisticated, much smarter than Trump. If that form of fascism comes to America, watch out, because that'll be much harder to uproot. So it is imperative that the Democratic Party get their act together before 2024, because Tucker can win.
Yeah, and look, Tucker Carlson knows how to read a room, which is why he made himself sound so agreeable and pleasant when he was debating you at Politicon, Cenk, and it totally worked with some people, right? He toned down his rhetoric and tried to make it seem like he's a reasonable person. He knows how to work a room, he knows how to read a room, and you're right, he's way more savvy than Donald Trump could ever be, and that's terrifying. So we have a poll on this, and the question is, would Tucker Carlson have a chance at winning if he ran for president in 2024? Very easy, option here, either yes or no. So please check that out. There will be a link in the description box below. Just click on that and participate in the poll, or go to tyt.com/polls/Tucker 2024. That's Tucker 2024. All right, moving on.
No, but give me 1 second here. There was one amusing part of the Politico article. So they said, well, he's so popular, he's got 60 million views in the last quarter on his YouTube channel. Whoa, I didn't know it was that popular. So I looked up the numbers, of course. Young Turks in that same stretch, 126 million views on YouTube, twice as popular as Tucker Carlson, but we didn't even count Facebook. On Facebook, 346 million views. So, but there is a giant difference, honestly, between us and Tucker Carlson. So, as some of you know, I ran briefly for Congress. It was about a 3-month campaign, didn't work. We have 5% of the country that watches us. It's a giant number. That means I have about 5% name recognition all across the country, including that one district. But even though our numbers are larger than Tucker Carlson, what we don't have is what Tucker has, which is, since he's on cable news, other media talk about him nonstop. So it's always Tucker Carlson, Chris Cuomo, Anderson Cooper, Rachel Maddow, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That has driven up all of their name recognition to gigantic levels. So if Tucker runs, he does have a chance, because the rest of the media has already talked about him to the tune of billions of dollars in free media. So number one thing you need in politics is name recognition, and he's got it. And he's got a right-wing strategy. Now, the main problem he has is demographics. The demographics are shifting, and so someone with those kind of conservative populist positions are less likely to win going forward, but you would need a competent Democratic candidate against them. So, oh boy, God help us all.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.